Welcome back, everybody, to my annual October ranking series. This year I'm counting down my 31 favorite horror movies from the 2010s. So, we had an all-time classic at number 17, what many people would argue is the greatest horror movie from the 2010s. And at number 16, we have another all-time classic, in my opinion, Tucker and Dale vs. Evil.
Oh, it's some pancakes! You hate pancakes? I'm gonna make you something else.
I love Tucker and Dale vs. Evil. This is one of my favorite horror comedies. It's just such a great poke at backwoods slasher movies and backwoods hillbilly horror movies. Such a great turn on everything. It's got fantastic gore that it uses in the gags. This is a splat-stick movie. That's one of the best ways to describe it. With two of some of the most likable characters in horror comedies, Tucker and Dale. I just love the premise of this movie. Like I said, it's a spin on the backwoods hillbilly horror movie. The two main characters are Tucker and Dale. They are hillbillies who are going to this cabin in the middle of the woods. That's their new vacation home. And at the same time, you have this group of college kids going out to spend to go camping, to engage in the usual shenanigans that you see in a backwoods horror movie. You know, they're going to have sex, do drugs, drink, all that fun stuff that, you know, that whole wholesome good time. And of course, they buy into all the cliches that you expect in hillbilly horror movies. They see Tucker and Dale and think at first that they are crazy backwoods hillbillies, but they're actually really nice guys. Dale is kind of this shy, goofy man. Tucker is a little more abrasive, but in a lovable way. They're a perfect comedy duo, and, you know, right away you instantly fall in love with them because of how, you know, they interact with each other. They have such a... Tucker was played by Alan Tudyk, and Dale was played by Tyler Labine. I hope that's how you pronounce it. And they have such great chemistry together. You believe them as best friends, and it's just, they're so great together. You instantly fall in love with these two as characters.
You are a good-looking man, more or less. You got a damn good heart.
Yep.
I mean, that's two things right there.
But anyway, getting to the story, Tucker and Dale are out fishing one night, and the college kids are out camping, and they all decide to go skinny dipping. And then you have this one girl named Allison who climbs up on a rock. Tucker and Dale see them. She ends up falling into the water and is knocked unconscious. So Tucker and Dale end up saving her. They pick her up, they put her in her boat. And her friends see this happening, and thinking that Tucker and Dale are crazy backwoods hillbillies, think that they have now kidnapped their friend.
Ah, we got your friend!
Oh God! They got Allison!
Hey! We got your friend! Why the hell are they running away? Hey!
And there's even that sequence when Tucker's like, "We got your friend, we got your friend," and they scream and run away, and Tucker's like, "Why the hell are they running away? Hey, we got your friend here." It's so funny. But due to a bunch of misunderstandings, the college kids think that Tucker and Dale have kidnapped their friend. They are going in to try and save her, and due to their own stupidity and clumsiness, they end up killing themselves, but they're thinking that it's Tucker and Dale killing people off, but they end up killing themselves. This movie has a dark, dark sense of humor, and it's so much fun. For me, Tucker and Dale vs. Evil is one of the best parody movies to come out since 2010. And Tucker and Dale vs. Evil came out in 2010, and in my opinion, since then, nothing has topped it yet in terms of parodies. There is the new Naked Gun movie that came out. I haven't had a chance to see it yet. This video is officially dated, but anyway. But yes, I love this movie as a parody, and it has such a great mix of comedy. You do have elements of slapstick in this movie, but you also have horror in the banter between Tucker and Dale. And, you know, you have situational horror, you have you have situational humor, you have dialogue-based humor. And it's just like, humor through misunderstandings, humor through gore. Like I said, most of the slapstick is splatstick. So you have people dying, but you're laughing your ass off because it's handled in such a fun comedic way. There is an element of stupidity here, and a lot of times in horror movies, not so much horror comedies, but horror movies, stupidity being the only thing moving the plot forward can really hurt a movie, and that is for me as well. And I always clarify this, I have no problem if in a horror movie, you know, people are making one or two mistakes, or because I understand in stressful situations people can make mistakes, but, you know, I'm fine with, like, people making one or two mistakes. But what drives me crazy is when stupidity is the only thing moving the plot forward. That drives me nuts. But that's different in horror comedies. Like, this is definitely one of those horror comedies that leans way more towards comedy than horror. It's basically just a comedy with elements of horror sprinkled through here and there. It's different. Stupidity in horror comedies is different because the movie is a comedy. It's trying to be goofy. It's trying to be silly. So stupidity can add to the humor of everything. That's when it can work. And it works very well in Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Like I said, Tucker and Dale are just so charming. You can't help but love these guys. You know, they're on the same level as, maybe not the same level, but almost up with the likes of Bill and Ted. You know, you just like hanging out with these guys. That's how Tucker and Dale are. We never got a sequel to this movie, and that is a real shame. I wish we had gotten more Tucker and Dale versus Evil, because this movie is so much fun. And the other characters are good too. Yes, the college kids are not as likable as Tucker and Dale versus Evil, because they are inadvertently the bad guys in this movie, except for one. There's a guy named Chad who basically becomes the villain of the movie. But anyway, you're still having fun with these characters because they are the cliches that we see in other horror movies. So they have that unlikable nature to them, but in a funny way, which works because we're about to see them get killed and we're supposed to laugh at their deaths, which is... So you kind of have to have that slight unlikability there so you can laugh at their deaths, because the kills are where a lot of the comedy is. Like I said, this is darkly comedic, but it's so funny.
Crackling like a log.
Oh, that stinks.
The gore is fantastic too. It's like legitimately good gore effects. But again, it's funny because they are using the gore for gags, and it just mixes so well together. This is like one of those movies that, you know, like, even if you're not a gore hound, I think you can still have fun with it. But you do have to have a dark sense of humor going into this. It's a huge part of this, what you need when going into this movie. And another thing about it, which makes it a great parody, and a problem with a lot of parodies that have come out, is a lot of parodies are references to other movies, and they have so many references to other movies, so many callbacks to other movies, that you kind of have to know those movies in order to enjoy this. Tucker and Dale vs. Evil does have callbacks to other backwoods slasher movies and hillbilly horror movies, but you don't need to have seen them to enjoy this movie. It's like, because the cliches are so ingrained in pop culture that you know them already. Like, the cliches are there to add to the enjoyment, but you don't need to know them in order to enjoy this movie. It stands on its own. Like, Tucker and Dale is just doing a funny backwoods slasher movie, backwoods hillbilly horror movie. That's what it is. And that's what makes for the best parodies. You're not just putting in a bunch of references to other movies, like, you know, like a date movie, an epic movie, and stuff like that. They're just referencing other movies. But the best way to do a parody is to just make a funny version of that movie. That's why Blazing Saddles is so great. That's why the Naked Gun movies are so great. They're just making funny versions of those movies. Like, Blazing Saddles is just a funny version of a Western, and there are references in there, but it's not depending on those references. Same thing with the Naked Gun movies. That's why Tucker and Dale vs. Evil is so great as a parody. It's just a funny version of a backwoods hillbilly horror movie. I love Tucker and Dale. I absolutely adore this movie. I love showing it to people during a movie night because they have a good time. Even if they're not really into backwoods hillbilly horror movies, they still have a lot of fun with Tucker and Dale versus Evil. So yeah, Tucker and Dale versus Evil, I think this is the perfect horror movie, or perfect horror comedy, or comedy horror, if you want to be more precise, to watch around Halloween for October, especially if you're having a movie night with friends. You're getting a bunch of people together, I would say definitely show them Tucker and Dale versus Evil.